So take your time to kind of settle into your chosen spot. Hopefully, you have some things that can make you a little bit cozy and comfortable. And to begin, it might be that you are curious about whether any movement is desired. So this could certainly be something like what we often start with. This could be turning the head or rolling the head. This might be rocking the knees side to side. But it might be something entirely different. You might instead feel a need to shake or shake it out or wiggle it out. There might be some kind of unwinding that wants to happen, like rolling the shoulders or turning the head in some other ways, lifting, lowering the chin. And you already know that you're so welcome to continue to move in any way. So in some bodies, stillness might arrive and it might feel really easeful. And in other bodies today, there may be a desire for some kind of movement. Sometimes that looks like something slow and rhythmic, like some kind of rocking, and it could be something else. Excuse me. At some point, either in moving or with some kind of stillness, you might begin to do a bit less, like make less of an effort. And you might begin to notice something about, first about where you are, where you've landed, what space you're in, whether it's your own home or somewhere else. You might notice or remember something about the weather, about how it is where you are at this time of year. And you might also notice something about where you've landed in the space. So where you are relative to the door or stairs, where you are relative to furniture or to other living things. And as you gather information in this way, because that's what we're doing when we orient, we're gathering information for our nervous systems. So as you gather information in this way, you might also notice something about your own state. So you might notice something about your energy, the level of energy that you have in this moment, the quality of energy, whether it feels fuzzy or dampened or jittery, something else. You might notice something about your emotional state, allowing that to be as complicated as it could be. And then remembering here that, in fact, there's time enough to exhale. And as you exhale, you might be able to allow your weight to settle a little bit. Letting your face do less. And as you exhale, you might be able to let your head and your shoulders sink any amount. Let your hips be a little heavier, perhaps. And let your arms and your legs be heavier too. And so I'm going to guide a little trip around the body, and in such a way that we might remember some things with some appreciation for what has been possible today or this week, because we have some parts that work. And so as I, offer suggestions and ways to notice, it's really good to remember that not everything I say will be for you. So we each have our own limitations. We each have our own areas where there's less capacity. And so I may say things that don't fit for you or don't apply to your current situation. You can move on to the next thing in that case. And so it could be that you allow your awareness to travel down to the tips of your toes. And of course, you might decide you want to move this part of your body or to be still. And either way, noticing toes on both feet and noticing the soles of the feet and the tops of the feet, noticing the ankles, left and right. And perhaps also noticing the entire leg hip complex. So up from the ankles to the lower legs, up to the knees, up to the thighs, and even up to the hips. And then back down to the toes. And with these parts of your body in your awareness, you might now remember something about what was possible today because you have some capacity in your legs and your feet. So, is it possible to wiggle your toes? Were you able to stand up on 2 feet? Perhaps you were able to walk somewhere or even to run. Or perhaps you were able to climb up or down some stairs or a hill. Maybe you were able to squat or to kneel. Maybe you were able to lift your heels and be on your tiptoes to reach for something high. And so just for another, moment or two, remembering something about where you were able to get to or what you were able to do because you have some capacity in your legs, in your ankles, in your feet, and in your toes. At the same time, you can soften a bit around the eyes and soften your focus, knowing that you don't have to remember everything. And so if it feels welcome and, it might feel silly, so it's not required, but it feels like yes, you might sort of offer some kind of thank you or gratitude to your legs, your feet, your toes. You could bring your hands somewhere on your legs, give your legs a little squeeze or a little rub if that feels like a yes. It's a very concrete thank you. Or there may be some words that come. And so, of course, you can stay with any part of the body for as long as feels right. If it feels welcome, you might now travel to the tips of your fingers and thumbs. And of course, you can do this in stillness. It might be welcome to feel into the tips of the fingers and thumbs by drawing them against each other in some way. And so from the fingers and thumbs, noticing the palms of both hands and the tops of both hands and the wrists left and right. And for a slow moment, perhaps traveling up the forearms into the elbows, traveling up the upper arms into the shoulders, and then all the way back down to the palms of the hands and the tips of the fingers and thumbs. And now, as we bring that kind of friendly awareness to hands and arms and shoulders, they might once more remember with some kind of appreciation what was possible today or this week, because we do have some capacity in our hands and our arms. And so you might have been able to hold a toothbrush or a mug. You might have been able to pick up a tiny object and put it back down. You might have been able to open a blind or close a window. Perhaps you were able to text or type this week. Perhaps you held a pen or a pencil and did some, or a paintbrush, and did some writing or drawing or painting. Perhaps you're able to gather up some blankets in your arms or wrap them around you or someone else. And so, for a moment, with that soft focus, remembering a few ways that you were able to participate in the world or do things because you have capacity in your arms and your hands. Even if that capacity is not full or perfect. And so here too, it might be that you bring hands to arms or bring hands together, giving your hands a little squeeze or your arms a little tap or massage. That's a very practical kind of offering of gratitude. There may be words that come as well. And from there, it might be that we travel to some of our sensory organs. So when we think about the five senses, we might travel to notice these. Now, again, here, there may be a sense that's not available to you, so you can move on or go back to focus on some other part of the body. We won't be traveling through all of the systems because we don't have the time, but for now, it might be that you travel up to the mouth and maybe even land inside the mouth to notice the tongue, to notice the gums and the sides of the mouth, to notice the teeth or to feel the teeth with your tongue. And if taste is available to you right now, you might remember something that you tasted today or this week. Something sweet or salty, something that tasted good. And if taste is unavailable, you might remember the texture of something, something crunchy or smooth. And from taste, then moving up into the nose to the sense of smell. You might remember something that you were able to smell this week, whether it was the decaying leaves or something simmering on the stove, the smell of a candle. And whether or not the smell is available to you right now, you can probably still feel into the soft flow of air as you breathe in and you breathe out. Perhaps you can feel that slight coolness in the air as you breathe in, and the very slight warmth as you breathe out. And from the nose, you might move through the sinuses into the ears. And for a moment, notice sound on purpose. So noticing here any welcome sounds, any unwelcome sound. And perhaps for a moment, remembering some sound that has been welcome, whether it's some music that you were listening to, or the voice of a human or creature whom you love. Moving up to the eyes, maybe softening your gaze, even if your eyes are closed. And for most of us, if sight is available, there's so much visual stimuli that comes in every day. So here, especially, we're not trying to remember everything. But there may be something that you saw that just stopped you for a moment, whether it was a sunset or snow falling, whether it was the light of a candle or a favorite color. And then finally coming back to our sense of touch. And you might do this by noticing one more time your own good weight. That there's a way that you can feel your own presence in this world by noticing your weight and allowing your weight to be held by the earth. Having a sense that you belong here, that you are part of what makes this world beautiful. You are a part of what makes this world beautiful. And so if you're going to continue to rest, you might ignore my next words. Otherwise, you might now bring your attention back to the breath, noticing the flow of air in and out through the nostrils. And perhaps gently deepening your in breaths. If you've been still, you might now feel like moving a little bit. We'll see if there's some subtle movement that wants to happen through fingers, through toes, maybe through your face. And then begin to invite any other movements back into the body, any kind of rolling or rocking or stretching that feels good. You can either sit or stay where you are. Just pausing for a moment to remember with some appreciation this group of us who gather, and sending out a good breath or a silent thank you, offering that same grace to yourself, and even remembering the beauty and wisdom that is inside you. And so it is. Thank you for practicing with me today.